Welcome back to Today in Atlanta Sports. In this episode, we are going to break down the Hawks' chances in the play-in tournament. Right now, Atlanta is currently sitting in the 10 seed, but there's still, 8 games left? 7 games left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games left in the season. The Hawks have a pretty big gauntlet coming up. They play tonight, Oklahoma City at Oklahoma City. These are the kind of games they've been losing. So no foot off the gas. They have to take care of business. There is no excuse. I don't care who's out. I don't care if John Collins is out. I don't care if DeAndre Hunter's out. They have to win this game. It's an absolute must win. I don't care because what's next is Cleveland, playoff team. Brooklyn, playoff team. Toronto, playoff team. Washington, still a decent team. Then you have the number 1 seed, Miami, in their next 4 out of 5 game stretch. They're only a half game behind Charlotte for the 9 seed, but it's critical to get that 8 seed because otherwise you have to win 2 straight games to get into the tournament. And with Brooklyn also in it, Cleveland, that's just going to be tough to do. It's not impossible. It's just 2 games. You can still do it, but it's absolutely critical. If you get the 7 or 8 seed, you only have to win 1 game and you're in. If you're not familiar with how it goes, the 7 and 8 seed play each other. The winner of that game is the 7 seed in the conference. The loser plays the winner of the 9 and 10 game. So if you're in the 9 and 10 game, you have to win that 9 and 10 game and then win a road game against the loser of the 7 and 8 game. So that 9-10 game, very, very tough to come out of. Not saying the Hawks can't do it, but they're still kind of battered right now. If you have to play Brooklyn on the road in a game, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to win. Kyrie Irving's back. Kevin Durant's back. Who knows? Ben Simmons could be back. I know he's not playing, but he could be back. But let's take a look at these schedules because I do think everyone kind of has a difficult road. We just talked about the Hawks. Let's look at Brooklyn. They play tomorrow at home against Milwaukee. That's a tough game, and they easily could lose that. Then the very next game is 2 days later at Atlanta. That's a must win. If you look at this schedule, to me, if there's any way they're going to catch up to Brooklyn, they have to win that game. If they lose that game, I feel like there's almost no chance. If they win that game, they're in the driver's seat. They control their own destiny. They're a game and a half behind Brooklyn, but they only have, I think they have 2 games in hand. So they're a game and a half behind, but they have 2 games in hand, or they're only 1 game behind in the loss column. So you win that game at home against Brooklyn. The Hawks have been great at home, especially against good teams. You got a chance to make it out of this player and get in that 7-8 seed. And dude, I'm just saying, you look at the Eastern Conference, if the Hawks get healthy, there's no one that I see, except for probably Milwaukee, that if we get matched up with, that I'm like, oh shit, the Hawks have no chance. Boston, it's going to be tough. Every game's going to be tough, but they can beat all those teams.
Yeah, I want to go back to the play-in. At all costs, I feel like you got to do everything you can to avoid a game against Brooklyn because in these sudden death type play-in games, a guy like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant can go off for 80 points combined. And then, the Hawks, there's nothing you can do. They're just going to score. Kevin Durant's arguably the greatest scorer in NBA history. The guy can get whatever he wants, whenever he wants. That's what you said it right there. You want to get that 7 or 8 seed just so you increase your chances dramatically by just getting one of those seats.
I want to tell you something because I'm just looking at the leading scorers on the right from each of their games just to give, the people an example. Obviously, the Hawks have Trae Young who can go off for 40 or 50, but you just see this every night. One of these guys is going off for 40 plus, like Durant 41, Durant 27, Irving 43, Durant 37, Durant 38, Irving 60, Durant 53, Irving 50, Durant 37. So these guys are going to go off for 40 or 50 and you put, a playoff atmosphere with all the chips on the line and they're going to be playing 48 minutes. You can almost guarantee you're going to get 80 points out of them. The Hawks, they still don't know who's going to be their second guy. We don't even know if John Collins is going to be back. So right now the Hawks are playing Trae Young and Hope.
TLC.
Yeah. This doesn't get you very far. If you only have a 1 game plan, listen, I'll say one thing about Trae Young. He gives you a chance in any game. He's a true superstar. You have to have a superstar like that if you want to win in this league. And you saw it in the playoffs last year. We were not better than the Sixers, but Trae Young gave you a chance every year. So if someone can step up, you got a chance of winning, especially if he goes off in a 1 game plan. But you got to get in that. I see no way with the way the Hawks have played, as inconsistently as they've played, with as injured as they are, they win 2 games in a row in the play-in, especially if they play 2 games on the road. I mean, there's a very real possibility. As things stand today, that's what they'd have to do: win 2 games on the road against 2 solid teams. Charlotte ain't nothing to, they got some players too. You kind of skip over them, but they got players. And you look at the Hawks, man, they haven't been able to beat bad teams at all. They haven't been able to beat average teams. It's been the good teams that they play well against.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing is, I saw the, points per game net and against playoff teams versus non-playoff teams, and it's eye-popping that how bad the Hawks have been against non-playoff teams. I mean, just
you can go through it.
I mean, they're
the worst. The worst
they're 500. They're 500 against like the worst teams in the league. Maybe even less than 500.
They've lost like 2 games of the Pistons recently. Like with all their backs against the wall, they've lost their last 2 games against the Pistons. I think they've lost 2 or 3 against the Magic. A few against the Pacers. I mean, it's been mind-boggling. So when I look at the Hawks schedule, I don't even really get worried. I mean, I see Brooklyn, Toronto, Miami, and I'm like, dude, they can beat all those teams. It really just depends which team shows up. I mean, I'm almost just as worried with these road games at Oklahoma City to start this and at Houston to end this. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, that Houston game could be for the 8th seed. And I wouldn't even be shocked, man. I mean, I'm not putting my chips in with this team. I'm not putting them in. Like last year, I put them in. Like a healthy Hawks team, I really like what Bogdanovich. He started off slow. He got injured. But the reason the Hawks really made a run last year was because Bogey became a true second option. And he's become that with Trae Young, with these guys out. Obviously, we're going to need John Collins to do anything, but he's a true second option. So, but still, I can't put any chips in with this team because they've let me down we finally got over 500. And maybe that does something mentally. Maybe it does, but we're going to find out tonight against Oklahoma City. We will find out tonight because that's a game that we've been losing all year long. And these are NBA players like SGA. That guy can go out and get 40 on Trae Young every day of the week. Like they better be ready to play. I just don't understand how they've kept letting their foot off the gas down the stretch against these bad teams, knowing that every game is so important to get up to that 7 or 8 seed, which is why I just don't know if they can do it. I just don't have that confidence in them like I did last year. When I was recording these pods last year, I was always saying, oh, we could beat Philly. I said we would sweep the Celtics. Of course, the Celtics go on to lose in the play-in. I said we would beat the shit out of the Knicks. We beat the shit out of the Knicks. I said we beat Philly. We beat Philly. And I said we pushed Milwaukee. But that was a totally different team. This is not the same team. They haven't played like it all year. But who knows? I mean, some of these teams have a switch, and we'll see if the Hawks have it. I just haven't seen it yet. So I am out on the Hawks. I'm out on them. I hope they prove me wrong. I do not believe they can come out of this and make the legit Eastern Conference playoffs. I don't think they can.
Yeah, the likelihood is very low. But this isn't a gambling show, but if I was a gambling man, which I am, I'd be laying the points with the Thunder tonight. They're like 12.5-point underdogs. I mean, that's a huge.
SGA must not be playing.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, they're 12.
I don't know either. Oh yeah, he's out for the season. That makes sense. I was like SGA must not be playing yet. Like, yeah, 2 days ago they announced him out for the season. So that is a big break. I mean, but still, dude. I mean, I can't tell you how many times Portland with like a bunch of G Leaguers. Portland beat the Hawks with a bunch of G Leaguers when Trae Young dropped 56 and 14. Like, how does that happen? I mean, it's been happening all year. And until maybe this is it. Maybe, it only takes one hot stretch. Every team, they said the Braves, every team has a hot stretch. Every team has a hot stretch. They caught fire at the end. They won the World Series. I don't think it's the same in the NBA because the playoffs aren't as lucky. You have to have the best team, to actually beat, go all the way. But Jesus, maybe this is it. Maybe they get some confidence. They beat the crap out of the Pacers last night. They can beat the crap out of the weak Oklahoma City Thunder without their best player. And they go into this gauntlet. Who knows? I mean, they're going to be focused for that gauntlet. They have played the good teams well. Like, I like them against the good teams. It's these games that worry me.
Yeah, it would be a shame if they overlooked the Thunder. Seeing this gauntlet they got, and they're like, it's every game is a must-win game, and so I don't know how.
Yeah, so how do you overlook it?
But it seems like that's what they keep doing. They play a bad team, and they're like, oh, okay. You know what? I said this, months ago, and it seems like the Hawks defense is predicated on who they're playing effort-wise. So when they play bad teams, they're like, I found out I can get this much effort and get the job done. And it's shitty. It's shitty. It should be 110% every single. Yeah, exactly.
The Pacers dropped 123. Yeah, we won the game because we had 132, but we still gave up 123 points to a team that had 8 players. They had 8 players, and none of their starters. They were literally playing G Leaguers, and they gave up 123 points. I mean, I don't know how you do that in must-win games. There's just a clear lack of effort, and because these guys can play defense. We saw it. We saw it happen. It is a lack of effort, and what's so frustrating is after the game, they'll admit it's a lack of effort. Well, how can you tell me you didn't come into this game knowing you needed this, knowing legacies are on the line, knowing playoff berths are on the line, and you weren't prepared to play the best game of your life? I mean, as a guy, I mean, listen, I'm no athlete. I never had a chance being, but I'm still a competitive person. I don't understand how you ever get to that point, how you ever, I would be bawling my ass off playing as hard as I can at this point in the season. I don't get it.
Yeah, it feels like the same song and dance. The same people come up and answer questions, whether it's Clint Capella or Trey or whoever, and they're like, "Yeah, the effort just isn't there defensively. I don't like what we're doing defensively." It's like, well, then somebody getting somebody's ass and let's get something going here. I don't know if it's Nate McMillan that has to do that. I don't know. Trae Young is not a vocal leader. Trae Young is not that rah leader. And I think this is I'm straying a little bit.
I think was it Solomon Hill? Was it Solomon Hill? I think it was Solomon Hill.
It was Solo. You used to make fun of me so much about Solo, dude.
I mean, but dude, something is missing, and maybe it is just a veteran presence who's kind of hard nosed and will turn it up on the defensive end and just bring a different kind of intensity to the floor. I mean, you hated watching him offensively, and you don't really notice great defense because it's not like Solo was out there wing defending, but that toughness that he brought. I mean, maybe it is. Because I can't put my finger on it this year. I just haven't been able to. And that's why I'm not going to sit there and put my name out there and say, oh, the Hawks should have no problem. They're completely capable of doing this, completely capable of making it out of the play-in. I mean, there's no guarantee they'll even have to play Brooklyn. Brooklyn could easily get the 7 seed, win their game, and whatever. But I can't put my stamp on this team. I cannot do it. I hope to God I'm wrong, because I do think if they get in and John Collins comes back and DeAndre Hunter comes back, they can play with anyone. I mean, we've seen them do it, and I think they could make a run. They could have fun. We could be in the Eastern Conference Finals again. I genuinely believe that. But getting out of this play-in tournament, that's a hole. That's a hole they've dug themselves, man. That's a hole they've dug themselves. Getting to the Eastern Conference Final or the Eastern Conference playoffs, getting out of the playoff tournament, I think is going to be the hardest thing they have to do all year. I think it is. If they can do that, I'll believe you'll have me. I'll be sitting up here breaking down their first round series, completely believing they could win it. But I don't think they're going to get there.
I don't think they'll get there either. I wouldn't be shocked if they lost to Charlotte in the first playing game.
I would not. I wouldn't be shocked by this team losing to anybody. I wouldn't be shocked by them winning anything. But hey, let's hope we're wrong. I'm really excited to see it. It starts tonight with the Thunder. They have to win. And then we can talk about, that Brooklyn matchup in a couple days. I know we play Cleveland between them, but that Brooklyn matchup, if they can beat the Thunder here, becomes all important. And who knows? Anything can happen.